And I'm going to run you through just a couple of things that I've learned over the past 10 years of keeping calendars and planners and micromanaging my time. Some of these tips are going to be a little generic, but we have to start somewhere. Some of them are going to get pretty in depth as well, too. So regardless of where you're at on your ability to manage your time, I think you'll absolutely get a couple of things out of here that you can use in your future, just to make sure you're getting the most out of your life and out of your schedule. When it comes to planning, I'm sure you've probably heard this phrase, and if you have not, let me be the one to introduce you to it. But people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And I think a huge reason that people don't see the success that they strive to achieve is another great saying, which is that they don't strive to hit their goals, but they fall to their standards. And having a plan is like having a standard. And the more intense your plan is, the more detailed it is, the easier it is for you to see high level success because you're planning for every situation, and you're giving yourself time to take care of yourself and make sure everything gets done. So, we're going to start off here. I'm going to give you my first tip. It's going to be 10 of them if you want to put that down in your notes. My first thing is very simple. Make sure you have a calendar or planner that you're using. So, like, again, we're going to range in how complex our planning goes, but I use this planner here. Let me unblur my background here. Hold on. And I've used a lot of planners over the years, but this one I use specifically because it has 15-minute time intervals in it, as well as a full day on Saturday and Sunday. So you can find many planners out there that have 15-minute time intervals, but then their Saturdays and Sundays are cut down. So this one has full Saturday, Sundays. The planner runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. So you get a really nice long day and a variety of times you can pick to plan into. It also has a full notes section over on the side as well too. I've been using this planner here since 2016. So I have one of these for every week of my life since 2016. You could actually ask me what I was doing at like 2 o'clock on a Tuesday in 2016, and I could give you an exact answer for where I was at and what I was doing. Right? I'm like, can never be misconvicted for a crime because I keep too good of notes. But either way, right, having that type of planner is going to make a big difference for yourself. So just making sure you have something where you're writing everything down. I am a big fan of the paper planner. I think that online planners get forgotten about, underutilized. I think having something on paper, tangible in front of you makes sense. Now, I've known people to do other planner styles. So another popular one is the Law of Attraction planner. So if you're somebody who prefers to do journaling with your planning, maybe have more intentions to write down, that's a great planner where you can have it like asks you questions, gives you more goals that you can hit throughout the week. But just having some source of planner that you're using. And then this goes into my next tip. So tip number 2, planning to plan. We call this a power hour, and putting an hour in your schedule every week where you are just going to plan your week, your schedule. The important thing about power hour is you want to do this in a place where you have no distractions. So if you need your cell phone or Wi-Fi or something during your planning session, put on like airplane mode, right? And make sure you're not checking text, you're not checking social media. You want to make sure you stay focused. This is an hour meeting with yourself to make sure everything in your life that needs to get done that week gets done. And making sure you put that in your schedule and you hold yourself accountable to that in your schedule every week. During that planning session, here's a couple of my tips. So tip number 3 for time management, make a list and then categorize it. So write down on paper everything you want to do this week. And there's that phrase, break it down to the ridiculous. I suggest just getting as detailed as possible with this list. And I mean, like, thinking about every area of your life. So if you're in school, right? What are your class assignments? When are office hours, right? You know, do you have any group projects due this week? You guys are in exam week, right? When do you need to study? How much time do you want to spend studying for each class, and putting it all on a list on paper for the job, right? When do you want to make outbound phone calls? How many demos are you doing that week? What times are you thinking you want to offer? How many times do you want to offer? Maybe you need to practice a skill set, right? So you're like, I need to practice how to close. When am I going to do that? But going and writing it all down on a personal note, right? When are you doing your laundry? When are you doing, like, if you meal prep, when are you meal prepping? If you go grocery shopping, right? That needs to go on there as well too. If you plan outfits, right? When are you going to do that? Thinking about everything that needs to go on there, the more detailed you get, the better it is. What do you want to do for your free time, right? Do you want to spend time scrolling on TikTok, right? Put it down so you can plan to put time in your schedule for that. The more detailed you get, the better it's going to be. So when you categorize it, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Eisenhower decision matrix here, but this is a great way that I like to go ahead and categorize my tasks. So after I've sat down, I've written down everything that needs to get done for the week, you're going to see here, you're going to have different quadrants. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. So this is something that needs to get done right away. It's very important. So a crisis, right? Maybe a pressing deadline. You know, if you have an exam tomorrow morning, that's urgent and important, right? So it's tomorrow morning. It's very important to you. That's going to go in quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is not urgent, but important. So this could be an exam next week, right? It's important, but it's not urgent. You know, this could be something that is like buying holiday gifts for your family, urgent, not important. You know, going to the gym, as you can see on here as well too, right? Urgent, not urgent, but important. So you go through, you kind of getting the idea here. Quadrant 3 is not important and urgent. So these are things that need to like happen immediately, but are not necessarily important. So like, you know, for instance, like you see on here, if it's like a scheduling a meeting for you, that might not be what you need to get done. It could be something like your parents could help you out with, right? Like if you need a doctor's appointment booked up, you can have them help you with it. But things that are just like immediately need to happen, but are not really important if they do or don't happen, then you're going to have the last one, which is not urgent, not important, right? This could be just like scrolling on your phone, watching TV, right? These are things that are just kind of like time wasters. What you'll do is you'll go through and you'll categorize everything, and then you're going to put your schedule, and this sounds kind of counterintuitive, but what you want to do is you want to stay focused on what's in quadrant 2, which is important but not urgent. What you really want to do is you want to be so good at taking care of everything that's in quadrant 2 that nothing ends up in quadrant 1, right? You always want to be working in quadrant 2. Now, right now, you're brand new. So you might have some things as you're looking at your list, like, that's very urgent and important, right? I'm going to have to focus on that immediately. But you really want to be spending all of your time working on things in quadrant 2. You never want them to become urgent, especially your important activities. So what I always suggest doing is putting everything in quadrant 2 in the schedule first. And then you'll put everything in the schedule from quadrant 1 in, and then quadrant 3 and 4 for your remaining time blocks, right? But just so that way everything gets in that priority. So that was tip number 3. Tip number 4 for you guys, hopefully that was helpful. If you guys want to take a picture of this, you can, right now you need to do this one, you need to make a decision on. You can delegate things here, remove these, but at the end of the day, right, I think what happens, what really matters in my opinion, is you're spending all of your time here just making sure you're taking care of things before they become urgent. Okay, tip number 4 for you guys is when you are planning things in your schedule, now that it's categorized, is to use time blocking and then have a start and end time for certain things throughout the day. So if you're planning on working, okay, what time are you starting? What time are you ending? Stay focused during that time, especially with a job like this. It's important to have start and end time. So if you're like, okay, I'm starting my work day at 9 a.m. All right, I have an appointment at 9 a.m. So I'm going to clock in at 9. Well, I'm going to clock out at 2. Maybe I don't have appointments from 9 to 2 straight. So I'm going to use that in between time to phone, right? To be productive in the business, work on my skill sets. but make sure that you're putting it in there in a way where you're taking that entire time and you're not getting distracted in between appointments. You're utilizing it like a job. Same thing with school, right? Maybe you have an exam coming up you need to study for. Well, when are you starting and clocking into school? When are you clocking out of school and staying focused on school the entire time? By doing that, you're going to get the most out of yourself. You're already going to be putting that mental energy into the task. You might as well get something out of it. So, next thing, tip number 5, learn to say no and interrupt the interruptions. Something for me that I'm like, if you know me well, you know I have like severe ADHD, right? So my ability to stay focused is, it's a task. It is something that I have to be very focused on, conscious about all the time. So I had to learn very new in the business to interrupt my interruptions because I can get very easily distracted by somebody calling me or a text message or I will hear a song come on and get excited about the song and forget about what I was doing, right? So there are things like that that will happen on the day to day. Learning how to interrupt those moments when they happen and how are you going to respond so you can stay focused there, right? So for me, and this is my next tip for you, tip number 6, strategic reminders. So for everybody, this is different. Like for me, this is like whiteboard reminders, like writing on whiteboards, like, hey, you need to do this today. And like just reminding myself stuff needs to get done. Like if it's like, I have an Alexa at my house. So if I have like a meeting at 1:45, I say, Alexa, set an alarm at 1:40. So I don't forget when the meeting's going to start, right? But can you have strategic reminders for yourself in your house so you're staying on task with your schedule? Because a huge thing that I've noticed people do is they'll put it in their planners and then they just will forget that they ever put it there and it doesn't get done. So you have to have reminders so it gets done. Tip number 7, if something comes up in your schedule and it takes less than 5 minutes to do it immediately. So if you have something come up and it's a quick 5-minute task or less, just do it right then and there, because this is when you have quick little 5-minute tasks turn into nuisances later on in life because you didn't do it right then and there when it could have happened. So just making sure that if it's going to take less than 5 minutes to do it, just do it right then and there and then get back to what you were doing. That's as long as it's important enough to do. Again, social media doesn't count. So yeah, it's like if an important thing happens that it takes less than 5 minutes, just do it right then and there. Tip number 8, avoid fake work. Right? This is a big one. So there's a lot of times where fake work can look like over setting up your space, right? Like, oh, you're working, you're getting your space all set up. Scrolling through your contacts on your phone, looking for somebody to call when you probably scrolled past 10 people you could have called in the meantime, right? That's fake work. Like little things like that, things that are not actually going to move the needle for yourself if you spend your time doing it. It's just makes you feel like you're doing something productive. So avoiding those types of moments for yourself. Tip number 9, schedule time for interruptions and time wasters. That way you're not inclined to do it while you're doing something important. This could look like a 50 minutes on, 10-minute off type of deal, right? And setting alarms for yourself and saying, okay, for the next 50 minutes, I'm on, I'm focused, I'm going to do this, and then I will take a 10-minute break. And then going back in. You know yourself best. So maybe it's like 25 and 5, right? You do 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Do 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. But just making sure you're scheduling time to take care of yourself and you can give yourself a mental break. They've done studies that show that the human brain really doesn't retain and pay attention after 45 minutes. So you really want to stay focused on doing things in 45-minute increments and giving yourself time after 45 minutes to breathe. And then my last tip is track what you do and what you don't do so you can make sure that everything that didn't get done gets done. No one's perfect. You're going to try to schedule yourself stuff, and it might not happen. The hard part is when it doesn't happen and you don't notice it doesn't happen till a couple of days later, and then it's behind and you're panicking, right? It becomes urgent and important. So spending time to just at the end of the day, debrief, hey, what did I want to get done today that didn't get done, that I need to get done tomorrow so it doesn't get behind. But anyways, hopefully that was helpful for you guys on time management and tips. But that's what I got for you.
Yo, let's give Jenna a big round of applause. That was huge. And guys, that is 10 plus years of calendar vector experience. I'm not sure. I know, John, this is your first time meeting Jenna. Haley, I think this is like what, your first or second time meeting Jenna, second time. So Jenna is an absolute rock star in this job. She's been here since 2013, 12? 2014. So since 2014, next year she's going to be celebrating 10 years with the company, over $6 million plus in experience. So you guys are getting the best of the best. And what I love about team meetings and what I love about hearing from Jenna is most other people, they pay to get this type of lessons. They pay to get these types of coaching. To learn from someone who sold $6 million over 10 years is huge. To be able to learn from someone who has that experience in that time management, in that communication, there's business owners who pay other business people to like learn from them and to coach from them. And what I love about Vector, what I love about Cuck, and what I love about team meetings is you guys get all of this content for free and you get lots of experience behind that content as well. So I love that message, Jenna. It was awesome. You're awesome. Let's give one more round of applause to Jenna for just crushing that message. That was awesome. So with that being said, next thing I kind of want to go ahead and pivot and transition to this. So that was a little bit of our personal growth for this team meeting. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and dive into is a little bit more on the professional growth. So I'm going to teach you guys how to sell signatures and ultimate sets, and I'm also going to teach you guys just how to sell sets. So with that being said, you can title this page in your notes "Closing." We're going to be talking about closing. So it doesn't matter if we're selling sets, pieces, ultimate signatures. This is going to be a little bit of a longer message, so make sure that you guys are taking notes. So I just want to start off by just having a set mindset. And that's what I want you guys to go ahead and write down. A set mindset. I want you guys to have a set mindset. So why is having a set mindset so key in your demos and in your guys' presentations? Well, let me share it with you guys. So this is your guys' script right here. This section right here on the top of page 8, when you get to the summary, this is like one of the biggest value building sections of your entire script and of your entire presentation is right here. What do we say sales is? Sales is putting the product in front of the customer and showing the value in that product. So right here, what this summary page really does, page 8 is nothing but a straight summary page. And even if you're using the interactive demo, and if you're doing virtual demos versus in person, it's the same script on both ones. So I'm just using this just because it was easier to pull up and quicker for me to pull up. So with that being said, sets have the right tool for the right job. Who here would mow the lawn in high heels? Show of hands. No one? No one's mowing the lawn in high heels? Why not? Because it's not the right tool for the right job, right? You would never wear hiking boots to a formal dinner, right? So when you have a Cutco set, you'll always have the right tool for the right job, right? You wouldn't use a putter out of the sand, and you wouldn't use a driver on the green, right? So having the right tool is so key. Sets also have a built-in discount, so sets are actually cheaper. I'm not sure if you guys have looked at this at all, but if you pieced out a homemaker set, it would be like $17.49 or something like that. It would be like $200 more expensive if you were to piece out that homemaker set individually. So automatically with them buying in a set, they get that built-in discount. And that goes for all of our sets, not just the homemaker set. So that goes all the way from studio to gourmet to whatever it might be. Sets come with a free cutting board and other free stuff. Guys, in my personal opinions, cutting boards are one of the most underrated things that Cutco sells. They're like $30 and they keep your knives sharper longer. And they're forever guaranteed. I have like 10 cutting boards upstairs in my cabinet because that is how awesome our cutting boards are. And you guys know the glass, granite, marble cutting boards, they'll roll and dull your knife's edge. So even if you're talking to a customer about Cutco and they're like, I already have Wusthof, Shun, I'm not interested in knives, I already have a nice set of knives. Cool, do you have a Cutco cutting board to keep those nice knives sharp? Right, that's an instant close right there. Not the highest average order, it's like 30 CPO, but 30 CPO is better than no CPO, and those will add up over time. So sets come with that free cutting board and other free stuff. Guys, a buy now bonus on any set is insane. I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was talking to my mom, and I was talking to Tommy about closing and selling sets. And I was like, Mom, how much money have you spent on Christmas? She was like, probably close to $3,000 on Christmas gifts. And I was like, cool. Out of that $3,000, how many free things have you gotten from that? She said $0 worth. Guys, it's not typical to be able to buy something and get something else for free. We are very spoiled with Cutco that we even have the option to give away free stuff. And when with that buy now bonus with all of our sets, either getting a super shears, the pick 5, all of our specials, pretty much everything, you get free stuff with it. And that's so key, so huge, and so important, because that doesn't happen other places. That doesn't. So another reason why sets are awesome is because they come in a block or a tray. I always like to tell my customers, if you had a brand new Lamborghini, if you had a Ferrari, if you had a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, would you park it on the street where people can hit it, ding it, and where birds can crap on it? I pause and I look at them. I wait for a response, and they just like kind of chuckle. They're like, no. I'm like, exactly. You're going to put it in the garage, put it in the tarp, and you're going to cover it, right? You're going to protect that investment. That's what having a block does for your Cutco set. It is protecting your investment. It's like putting the Lamborghini in the garage. And then obviously interest-free monthly and payment options, so you don't have to pay for it all at once. So by the end of that section, I want my customers to be so lit up and so excited about a set, right? So what is sales? Sales is putting the product in front of the customer, showing the value in that product. But what sales actually is the transfer of excitement from one person to another. That's something that I want you guys to go ahead and write down for me. Sales is the transfer of excitement from one person to another. Sales is the transfer of excitement from one person to another. So if you guys are really lit up about sets, what do you think you're going to sell? You're going to sell a set, right? So what is Apple really good at? Every year they come out with a new what? They come out with a new iPhone, and everyone every year gets so excited. Did you see the new iPhone? Apple's releasing this. They did a promo video. They had a giant conference where the guy stands on stage and like, guys, iMessage went from blue to green. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, the app icon is different. I need to buy the new iPhone. It's the same thing, right? So what does Apple do a really good job of? They do a really good job of building that hype and building that excitement for their new products. So when you guys get really lit up, and when you get really lit up about sets, when you guys get really lit up about Cutco, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to make a set, and you're going to sell a set, and you're going to make a sale. So I want you guys to kind of think about this in your guys' demos and in your guys' presentations. Are you guys getting excited about sets, or are you just going through the motions and reading your script? Right? There's a difference between reading your script and being intentional with reading your script. Right? Going through the motions, like, all right, our sets come with free stuff and they're also discounted. Sets are safer because they come with a block. Or you're like, guys, sets are awesome. So let's have a built-in discount. Sets come with more free stuff. Right? Which sounded better, 1 or 2? Definitely 2, right? You were ready to buy from me after 2. So the more excited you get about Cutco, the more excited you get about sets, the more lit up that you guys get in your demos, you transfer that excitement, you transfer that energy to your guys' customer, and they're going to want to get it because you are so happy and because you are so lit up to buy Cutco and sell Cutco. That's the secret sauce to this job. If you want to know what the secret sauce is and why our assistant managers and why our branch managers and why our CSPs sell hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars and have 90% closes with 450 average orders, it's because they get really lit up and really excited in their demos and in their presentations. And when they talk about Cutco, it is the next best thing since sliced bread. And sliced bread will last you a week. This will last you forever. I can't wait to have my assistant managers quote me on that. But anyway, so with that being said, next thing I kind of want to go ahead and transition to is, along with your excitement for Cutco, I want to take a second and talk about sets. And I want to talk about the key and the importance of selling sets. So when you guys are doing your demo and when you guys are doing your presentation, you want to put so much emphasis on set. This is our homemaker plus 8 set. This is our galley plus 6 set. This is our essentials plus 5 set, right? You want to end every set name and you want to put set in there. Don't be like, oh yeah, this is our essentials. This is our galley. No, this is our galley set. This is our space saver set. And then when you're talking and going through that dropping down process, they're going to be like, oh, well, I don't really want to do a pick 5 special. I want to buy a set, right? And I want my customers saying set. I'm like, hey, what do you think you would use this homemaker set for? Do you think you would use a lot of the pieces in this homemaker set? And I want to be saying it as much as can. There's that low-key subliminal messaging to your guys' customers. So with that being said, next thing I want to go ahead and transition to is how to sell signature sets and how to sell ultimate sets. So this is how to sell signature sets and ultimate sets, and then I'll do a little bit drop down after. I want to talk about the bigger sets first, and then we're going to go down to the smaller sets because you guys know and have a lot of experience with those smaller sets. Not a lot of you guys have experience with those bigger sets. So let's talk about the signature set. So what I want you guys to go ahead and write down is what is the difference between a signature set and a homemaker set. So here are the pieces that come in the signature set that do not come in the homemaker set. So first, you have a traditional cheese knife, and then skip a couple lines between each because I'm going to explain how to sell each piece. So you have a traditional cheese knife, skip like 2 lines, traditional cheese knife. You have your petite santoku, so you can just write P santoku. So skip a couple lines after that. The third piece is your hearty slicer. And then skip a couple lines and then write block plus shears. Block plus shears. And then skip a couple lines and then write steak knife. So to recap, we have our traditional cheese knife. We have our petite santoku. We have our hearty slicer. We have our block plus our super shears. And then we have our steak knives. So those are the 5 things that come in the signature set that don't come in the homemaker set. And I'm going to give you like 2 to 3 selling points on how you guys can sell each piece. So I have an ultimate set upstairs and my mom has a signature set. So during the phone jam, I ran upstairs. You guys probably saw me running up and down the stairs, getting some knives. So I'm going to show you guys each one of these pieces and what makes it so special and what makes it so unique. So for a traditional cheese knife, what I want you guys to go ahead and write down is it has a micro double D edge. And then write an equal sign and say sharpest serrated knife that Cutco sells. This is the sharpest serrated edge knife that Cutco sells. Has a micro double D edge. So what does that mean? So let's say our trimmer, for example, has 12 double D edges per inch. Our traditional cheese knife will have 24. So it's the same double D edge. They just made them smaller and closer together. So this will have 12. This one will have like 24. So it's even more double D edges. Sharpest serrated edge knife that we make. And even though we call it a cheese knife, it is not only meant for cheese. So here are some uses that you can use this cheese knife for. Anything starchy or sticky. So sweet potatoes, zucchini, eggplant, potatoes, sweet potatoes. And this can also be for delicate foods. So squishy and squashy, like kiwis. This is also a great tomato knife if they ever cut tomatoes up as well. This is probably one of the most used knives in my mom's signature set. So that is our Traditional cheese knife. Any questions on the selling points, names, uses of a cheese knife?
Just one. It was 24 teeth per millimeter.
I was just saying that as an example. I'm not sure what the actual dimensions are. So like I would just give the example of like if this trimmer has 12 double D edges per inch, this one will have 24 per inch. So it just has double. I'm not sure what the exact measurements are on it. I'm sure you can find that somewhere on Vector Connect though. Cool. The next item is our Petite Santoku. And you can tell that this one gets used a lot in our house because it has all the dishwasher stains on it. Our dishwasher is terrible, but besides the point. Anyway, so this is our Petite Santoku. So what this Petite Santoku is for, it's for your dicing, mincing, and chopping. And the perk of having this and your chef knife is it balances out the use between both. So if you're only using your chef knife for everything, you think that straight edge knife is going to go duller a lot quicker? Yeah, if you're using it for everything, it's going to go duller a lot quicker. When you add a second straight edge knife into your set, it balances out the use and it keeps each knife sharper longer because you're not using one tool for every single job. Now you have two tools to do the same job, so you can balance those out. Also, with that being said, this is perfect for small mincing jobs. So like mincing garlic or cutting up like, what's the green stuff? Cilantro. Cutting up cilantro, parsley. It's great for dicing things up like that and small nitty-gritty jobs. And the perk of having a small knife for a small job is that you're not pulling out a sword every single time you want to mince a clove of garlic. And it's also really lightweight, and you don't have the full weight of that chef knife to hold you down and to weigh you down. So it's the right tool for the right job. And it will keep your both knives sharper longer. So your Petite Santoku is great for, like I said, mincing garlic, cilantro, parsley. It's also great for smaller chopping jobs like celery. It's also great for shallots. So if any of you are gourmet cookers, it's great for shallots. A shallot is pretty much just a fancy onion. Just has more flavor and more tang, more kick to it. I prefer shallots, but anyway, conversation for another time. So it's great for that as well. Any questions on names, uses, or why it's important to have this in your Santoku or in your signature set? Mario, was that a hand? Were you asking a question? Okay. So the next knife we have is your Hardy Slicer. This is your Hardy Slicer. So what your Hardy Slicer is that if this Petite Santoku and your trimmer, if they came together and had a love child, no smiles on that? I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, they come together, they make a love child, and then you get our Hardy Slicer. So it has the body of our Santoku with a double D edge. So that makes this our heavy duty utility. I want you to write that down. That's such a key factor. This is our heavy duty utility. Heavy duty utility. So you can tell that the tang is a lot thicker than our trimmer. So you guys can see that difference. So it's meant for more of your heavy duty jobs. So when my customers ask, what can I use this for? I say everything. You can use this for everything, Mrs. Jones. I like to call it the bad boy of the set because he's dangerous. He's dangerous. He can do anything and everything. He's a versatile 1 through 5 player. He can do anything and everything that you need him to do. So with the heavy duty, it is so strong, it can saw through bone. It can saw through bone. So any of your frozen foods, so your frozen ribs, frozen foods. It's so strong it can cut through the pit of an avocado. And I've tried it out. It actually works. This is the very first knife that I actually cut myself with. I was cutting through the pit of an avocado and I was like, dang, I'm really a Cutco rep now. After I cut myself with this, I was like not scared to get cut by a knife ever again. And I was like, yeah, shit happens. If you haven't cut yourself with a Cutco knife yet, you can't call yourself a Cutco rep. Just a joke, but all right. You guys are a tough crowd tonight. All right. Anyway. So this is your heavy duty utility knife. Anything that you would use a trimmer for, anything that you would use a petite santoku for, or anything that you would use a petite carver for, this guy can do it. This guy can do it. So any of your heavy duty jobs are like, oh, I'm not sure if I can cut through this, or I'm a little scared to cut through something. It's like kind of big, kind of intimidating. Use your hardy slicer. So it's great for your meats, your rack ribs, cutting through and sectioning out frozen food. It's great for your vegetables. My mom mainly uses it for cauliflower and cutting the bottom off of cauliflower. I use mine for steak. So I'll cook a steak. I'll set it on the cutting board and I'll cut my steak with this guy. Great for pork chops, your tri-tip steaks. And it's also great for anything with a hard brine. So like your spaghetti squash, honeydew, cantaloupe, it can cut through that as well. Any questions on hardy slicer, uses, how to sell it?
You said it's a combo between the trimmer and the petite santoku.
Correct. So it's got the body of a petite santoku with a double D edge, making it a heavy duty utility knife. This is your heavy duty utility knife. These are your 1 through 5. You can do anything and everything with them. Next for our knife knowledge, this is so much fun. We should do this more during team meeting. I just like showing you guys knives and just talking about them. This is fun. Are you guys having fun? Are you guys having a good time? Are you guys learning a lot? I'm having a great time. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Cool. Next thing is the block plus the super shears. The block plus the super shears. So the super shears automatically come in your signature set. It has a space for it in the block. Has a space for it in the block. Now, we've talked about the importance of having a block. And the signature set, I'll show you how much space it takes up. So here's a piece of paper. If you like trifold it, like right here, this is how much space your signature set takes up on your counter. It's a third of a piece of paper, or 3/4 of a piece of paper. That's how much space it takes up on your block, on your countertop. So being able to have the bigger block is awesome because it holds these, it holds the super shears. And then diving into our last one is our steak knives. So as you guys know, our homemaker set does not come with the steak knife option. Only the signature and ultimate set do. So with that being said, our steak knives are lit. They are lit. I love them. They have the Texas Roadhouse style feel, and you can use them for everyday meals like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So everything that you would use a table knife for, you can also use your steak knives for. Now, what I love about our steak knives is I'm a pretty big guy. If you guys have ever seen me in person, I'm like 6'7". I'm a basketball player. I got really big hands. And my dad used to be a bodybuilder, and he has bigger hands than I do. And we like the steak knife option just because it really fits into your hand well. And do I have any lefties on the call? Anyone here left-handed? No lefties. So my little brother, he's lefty, and he always hated other steak knives because steak knives, like the fancy ones that you get at Walmart or like the grocery store off Amazon, they're made for people with right hands. But with our steak knives, it still has that wedge lock handle, so you can use it in your left hand. And watching this dude try to cut a steak before we got our Cutco steak knives was the most awkward thing you would ever see in your entire life. But ever since we got that, he loves using them to cut his steak. My dad loves it because it's big enough for his hands. And then I love it because it's big enough for my hands too. Now, some of your customers are going to say, ooh, I really like the table knives, but I also really like the steak knives. Awesome. You can actually do an Arnold Palmer set, a little half and half. So sometimes what your customers want is they want some steak knives and some table knives. And you can actually do that on Cutco orders. You can do a 50-50. So for my mom, she has 4 steak knives in her signature block, and then she has 6 table knives for a total of 10. So she has half steak knives, half table knives. For me in my ultimate set, I have 8 steak knives and then 4 table knives. So you can split it too. So you get the best of both worlds. So you don't have to pick steak or table. You can do 50-50 or whatever ratio you want to do. If there's only 3 people in your house, you can do 3 steak knives for when you guys do have steak, and then do 7 table knives. You can do whatever ratio you want to do. With that being said, so next thing I want to go ahead and talk about is with the buy now bonus. So when your customers get a signature set, they get a $450 shopping spree of retail value for free. So up to $450 of retail value of Cutco, they can get that for free. So like, hey, Mrs. Jones, your buy now bonus is I'm going to show you the rest of our gifts and accessories. Anything that sticks out to you, just let me know and we can add it onto the cart for free. You get $450 with the retail value for free. And then you just load that up in your cart. So that can be like a K-Bar Explorer. It can be a hunting fishing knife. It can be a sporting knife. It could be the kitchen tools and the entertainer pack. And then they already have the super shear, so they're getting all 3. It can be a garden tool set. Christmas is right around the corner. And they could do like gift box sets instead, so they can get their signature set and then get Christmas gifts for everybody else as well. And they can stack that and give the gift to Cutco. Whatever it might be, $450 worth of retail value for free, which is pretty cool. So with that being said, any questions on the selling points or the names and the uses of the knives that come in our signature set? Showing hands, who thought this was really helpful and really beneficial? Awesome. Love it. Get your guys' teammates here. They're missing out. Cool. Next thing I'm going to teach you guys how to sell is an ultimate set. This is our ultimate set. So I don't have time to go through every single piece in our ultimate set and how to sell an entire ultimate set today. We can do that over extended periods of time. But I have 3 pieces that I think are like the biggest core pieces on what makes an ultimate set really an ultimate set. So with that being said, your ultimate set is your everything you'll ever need set. It is your everything you'll ever need set. People get kind of intimidated by the name of an ultimate set. Some of our CSPs call it a complete set. It's your complete set, your everything you'll ever need set, or how I like to call it, the greatest set of knives in the greatest set of knives in the history of the universe set. So it is everything you'll ever need. So here are the 3 pieces that I have for you guys. I guess that's a lot. Here are the 4 pieces. The 4 pieces that I have for you guys on how to sell ultimate sets. So one is the block. And people are going to be like, I don't have enough room on my counter for an ultimate set. That's way too many pieces. It takes up exactly 1 piece of paper space on your counter. So if you can fit 1 piece of paper, you can fit an ultimate set on your countertop. So 1 piece of paper is space. Like, Mrs. Jones, can you fit 1 piece of paper on your counter? She's like, yeah. Cool. You need an ultimate set. You need an ultimate set. So some reasons why someone would need an ultimate set is if they're cooking more than 4 to 5 times a week. If you're cooking more than 4 to 5 times a week. So a lot of the people that buy the ultimate set there are going to be like 3 types of people. There are going to be people that either just want the biggest and best of everything. There are going to be people who just really love cooking. And then there's going to be the people that would use every single piece every single day, 24/7, 365. And I've sold ultimate sets to all 3 types of people before. So one ultimate set sale I had was for my friend's mom, Jonathan Bame, Shelly. She was always cooking, always hosting us. Like she would host the basketball team, the baseball team. Like we used to throw like parties at his house. Sorry, Shelly, but we'd throw parties at his house all the time. And she would like order us pizza. It was a great time. And Shelly is a very bougie lady. And I was like, here's our homemaker set. And she goes, it's kind of small, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, well, we have our signature and ultimate set. This is our ultimate. It comes with every knife you'll ever need. She goes, oh, I like that one. Let's get it. Cool. Just wrote it up right then and there. Another one was from my friend's dad, John Merrill. Me and John were on the soccer team together. And John's dad used to be a professional chef. I didn't know this. And I was like 2 to 3 weeks in on the job, and I showed him the ultimate set. He's like, oh my gosh, you guys have a this knife and a this knife and a this knife and a this knife. We're going to take it. It has everything I need. And I was like, cool. Let's go ahead and write it up. And then the third type of person that's going to buy the ultimate set is someone who just cooks 24/7, 365. So if you have someone that lives out in the country and they don't have access to a lot of fast food restaurants, they don't go out and eat out a lot, or they just cook at home, or they love cooking at home, they just love cooking, and they would use all of these pieces, they need that ultimate set. I sold an ultimate set to a lady that lives all the way out in Black Forest. She lives on like, I think like 6 acres of land. And it took me like 45 minutes to get all the way out there. And she's like, Trey, I barely have time to go to the store and get everything I need, let alone eat out. I'm going to need this ultimate set because I cook like crazy and that's how I get all my food. And I was like, perfect. So if you guys know anyone who just likes the biggest and best of everything, loves cooking, or used to be a chef and would just really love having those pieces, that's who buys the ultimate set. Or I guess the fourth person is someone who just really wants to support you and wants to see you win and wants to see you succeed. Who's got someone like that in their life? Who's really just is your number one fan, wants to see you win, wants to see you do everything. Yeah, those are the people who buy ultimate sets. So let's talk about the 4 pieces that come in the ultimate set. So one is the bigger block. Like I said, it takes up about one piece of paper space, and it comes with 12 either table knives or steak knives. So they can do 6 and 6, so 6 table knives, 6 steak knives. They can do what I did and do 4 table knives, 4 or 8 steak knives, however, whatever ratio they want to do. So they just have more options. They're not constantly in the dishwasher. The next piece, and I'll start off with my favorite piece, is the cleaver. So this is your cleaver. So your cleaver, it is 2 pounds of American steel. That's how much this cleaver weighs. It's 2 pounds of American steel. So this guy is great for disjointing chickens, turkeys, duck, for your hunters. It's great for any butchering that you guys need to do. My mom uses this for her spaghetti squash. She's like, I just like the way it feels when I cut my spaghetti squash. It's perfect. So you can use it for your big veggies, and it's actually so strong it can cut and crack open a coconut. And I've tried it before. I don't have the video pulled up, but I have it on my Snapchat of me just whacking a coconut and just boom, and it just cracks right in half, which is pretty cool. So any sectioning that you guys need done, this guy is perfect for it. This is the ultimate American muscle that you need in your kitchen. It is purely American muscle. So whatever you have a big heavy duty job for, yeah, your Hardy slicer will do it, but this is like the big boy. Next piece I have is your boning knife. It is your boning knife. So this is your raw meat knife. This is going to be your raw meat knife. This is your raw meat knife. So this is perfect for butterflying chicken breast. Perfect for butterflying chicken breast, cutting the fat off of steaks, cutting the fat off of pork chops, your tri-tips. It's also great for sectioning off chicken as well. So what I use mine for is I'll get like a chicken breast, I'll butterfly it, cut it in half, defat it, and then I'll cut into little cubes, throw it in the frying pan, put some Alfredo sauce in there. It's fantastic. Super good. So this is your raw meat knife. This is your raw meat knife. And it slices through raw meat like it's nothing. Show of hands, who here's ever had to cut raw meat before? Does it suck like 90% of the time? Yeah, it's the worst. So this guy glides through it like freaking butter. Glides through it like butter. It's incredible. Total game changer. And then the next piece I want to talk about in our ultimate set is our petite slicer. So this is our petite slicer. So you can use this for every job a slicer can. It's just 2.5 inches shorter. So I love our petite slicer for a couple reasons. One, this is probably one of the most underrated tools that Cutco sells, and I feel like the slicer does not give enough credit for what it can really do, and I feel like not a lot of people fully utilize our slicers. So your slicer is one of the only 3-in-1 knives. So it's a 3-in-1 knife. So it can go from shredding lettuce. I want you guys to write this down. This will help you sell homemaker sets too. So it's perfect for shredding lettuce. So shredding lettuce to make your house salads. It's also great for cutting cakes. So when you have birthdays, Christmas cakes, or any occasion that you would need a cake, birthday, anniversary, just because you got a sweet tooth. It's great for cutting cakes and your breads. So like a French bread. So like if you have like spaghetti night or lasagna night, and your customer likes to make garlic bread, you can cut this guy with it, butter it up, throw it in the oven. It's going to make your life a billion times easier, and it won't squish it and won't squash it. I hate like squished down bread. It's the worst. I hate crumbs too. This won't leave any crumbs because it's sharp enough to cut through it. It's awesome. So leaves little to no cleanup. And then lastly, any of your boneless meats. So this is like perfect for your hams. Yeah, that's basically it, your ham. So your boneless meats. So during Thanksgiving, if you have a Christmas ham, a Thanksgiving ham, or if you smoke any meat, this is a great meat knife as well. I remember a couple Thanksgivings ago, I think it was two Thanksgivings ago, my grandma, she had an electric slicer and it stopped working and she was freaking out. She was like, how am I going to cut this ham? And I was like, Grandma, check this out. I actually have my Cutco in my car. Use this. And I saved Thanksgiving 3 years ago. My grandma was like, this is incredible. And then she bought a homemaker set right after. So this is a 3-in-1 knife. So you can use this 3 times in one meal. So I remember one time my dad was smoking a ham. My mom was making a salad, and then I made French bread. And this knife got used 3 times for one meal for 3 different things. It was nuts. And I was like, who used my slicer? My mom's like, I used it to slice up the salad. And I had to like clean it. And then I used it for the bread. And my dad was like, where's our slicer? And I was like, I used it for the bread. My mom's like, I used it for the salad. And he's like, son of a bitch. And like he had to clean it real quick. So it got used 3 times in one meal, which is pretty awesome. So that's your petite slicer. So now the perk of having both the slicer and the petite slicer is your petite slicer, you don't need to pull out, like I said, my favorite phrase, you don't need to pull out a sword for your everyday activities. So this is perfect for Thanksgiving dinner when you're cutting rolls, cutting any like bagels or sandwiches. If you make like your own sourdough bread, If your customer's a baker at all, this is great for like everyday use as well. So slicer, super underrated. One of my favorites. So with that being said, that's our ultimate and signature set. Any questions on who buys signatures and ultimate sets? Any questions on the knives that come in them? Any questions on how to present it or how to show it? Any questions on signature and ultimate set? And this is like art class. There's no stupid questions.
How exactly should we present it?
Great question. Thank you for asking that, Kennedy. So how you present it is you will show the ultimate or signature set in one of three situations. So one, if you already asked for the homemaker set and they already have like their credit card coming out and you can tell that they're going to buy a homemaker set like that as soon as you ask, just be like, hey, and it's this simple phrase. And Tommy, can you type this in the chat box for everyone? It's a simple phrase. So let me show you our signature and ultimate set so you know what all of the options are. Let me show you our signature and our ultimate set so you know what all of our options are. Let me show you our signature and ultimate set so you know what all of our options are. Let me show you our ultimate and signature set so you know what all of our options are. So if your customer is like really loving the homemaker set and they're like, yep, I want to take it, I want to buy that homemaker set, like, perfect. Let me just show you our ultimate and signature set so you know what all of our options are. And then you just show the pictures and explain the pieces. So just like in the drop down process, you don't need to be like, this is our like traditional cheese knife. It's used for blank, blank, and blank. Or this is the blank. It's for blank, blank, and blank. You just point to the picture and say, hey, this is our cheese knife. This is our mini chef knife. This is our heavy duty utility knife. And then our ultimate set, it comes with everything you'll ever need. Did you like this ultimate or signature set? You like the way it looked? Cool. Let me quote you a price on that here. So it's a blank, blank, and blank. That's how you sell signatures and ultimate sets. Just saying, hey, let me show you all the options. Here's what it comes with. Which one do you like better? Signature or ultimate? Signature set? All right, cool. Here's the price. That's how you show it. It is the easiest thing ever. So if your customer says yes to a homemaker set, or so if they say yes to a homemaker set, if they have more than 4 people in their family, so if they have like 5 or 6, so if it's like a married couple and they have like 3 kids, they need a signature set just because of the amount of table knives that the signature set comes with and how often they're going to be cooking, because eating out for a bigger family is expensive. So they probably cook at home the majority of the time. So they need that bigger signature and ultimate set. So that's something that you can bring up during like the rapport thing. Like, hey, how many people in your house are eating on a weekly basis at home? 5 to 6. Okay, you definitely, if it's 6, you need our home, or you need our ultimate set. You need our ultimate set because each one will have 2 table knives. We recommend 2 table knives per family member. Right? If it's like 5 people in the house, cool. You need a signature set. And do you guys pick up on that phrasing right there? You need. It's not you should get, you need. You need this set, Mrs. Jones. You need this set. So if they have a lot of people in their family, if they really like the homemaker set, third is if they like the biggest and best of everything. So if they're just bougie people and like the biggest and best of everything, and they're like, is it the homemaker the biggest thing you have? Congratulations, you just sold an ultimate set. Or if they really like the blocks too, that the super shears come in the block, sometimes your customers will buy it just because of that. I just dropped the super shears. But anyway, but if they really like the super shears and that it comes in a block, just like, does the homemaker set come with the shears in the block? No, but our signature and ultimate set, dude, you want to see what those look like? Or let me show you what those look like. Very simple, very easy, very smooth transition up. Great question, Kennedy. Thank you for asking that. Any other questions? Cool. So I got a contest for you guys. Are you guys ready for this? And this is recorded too. This is recorded, so I can't go back on this. Anyone who sells a signature set or an ultimate set by next team meeting, so you guys have 7 days. Anyone who sells an ultimate or a signature set, I will either get you guys a K-Bar Explorer or a K-Bar Outdoorsman. I'll get you guys a K-Bar, any K-Bar you want. And if you don't want a K-Bar, we'll find something else of equal or lesser value. Does that sound like a good deal? And even for my West Denver peeps, fuck it, I'll buy you guys one. I don't care. Don't bug Jenna with it. I'll buy you guys it. I said it, so I'll do it. So, Mary, Kennedy, hold me to that. I'll buy it for you guys. And it's recorded, so I got to. You can pull it up. Be like, Trey, you said it. Now you got to. So anyone who sells an ultimate or a signature set gets a K-Bar Explorer, something equal or lesser value from me. Does that sound like a fun contest? Should have told you guys that before the phone jam, huh? Like... Anyway, so last thing I want to go ahead and dive into before we wrap up, and I know I've been talking here for the past like 45 minutes. I'm sorry, I just get really lit up about Cutco. The last thing I want to go ahead and talk about is just the dropping down process. And how to sell our starter sets and specials, and pretty much I've reserved the buy now bonus. I just want to talk about closing and that dropping down process. So a lot of you guys in training, you guys heard me talk about the rule of 7 and the dropping down process, but I want to go ahead and revisit that real quick. So everybody has a number on the back of their head, 1 through 7. Some people are 1s where they see it, they like it, they buy it. They see it, they like it, they buy it, they want it. Right? So show of hands, who knows someone that's a 1? Who knows someone that's a 1? Just a total impulse buyer. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm a 1. I'm a hardcore 1. And then your 7s are people that are really like reserved, and they need to know all of the options before they feel comfortable saying yes. You can lay out every single option, every single scenario, and they're going to say, I don't know. Show of hands, who knows someone like that? Who knows someone like that? Yeah, that's my mom. My demo with my mom took like 2 hours and like 40 minutes. She made me read every single page of my script front to back. And then she asked questions on every single piece and every single set. And then she ended up buying a pair of super shears and a trimmer. That was it. 2 hours and 40 minutes for that. Now she's obviously upgraded to a signature set. But when I was first starting off, she was a hardcore 7, man. She was a hardcore 7. So your guys' job in the dropping down process is to find your customer's comfortability level. Are there going to be some people who are comfortable buying a signature and ultimate set? Absolutely. That's where their comfortability level's at. Is there someone who's only their comfortability level is buying 1 trimmer today like my mom did? Yes, absolutely. And putting it on a toupee at that, putting that trimmer on a toupee. Are there going to be some customers who are comfortable with that? Yes, absolutely. But I believe from the bottom of my heart that every single person on this planet deserves to experience Cutco. Every single person on this planet. So I don't care if that's an ultimate set, a single cutting board, a pair of super shears, whatever it is, all your customers deserve to experience Cutco. So in the drop down process, don't give up on your customers if they say no at like the pick 5. Don't give up when you get to like a buy 3, get 1. You still have a lot of options left. Now, I value closing percentage more than anything else. Our assistant manager staff, they have an 80 to 90% close. When they book a demo, they're going to sell on that demo. and they're the leaders in our office. And I know like Braden Green, for example, Braden Green always shows the signature, always shows the ultimate set. He has $1,000 average order. And he's closing out what, like Jenna, 90%, 95% with $1,000 average order. So closing is so key. Dropping down is so key. Finding your customer's comfortability level is so key. And why I really believe this is because 10 times out of 10, your customer wins. When they buy Cutco from me, do I get a commission? Do I get a kickback from that? Yes, absolutely. But what am I going to spend that money on? I'm going to spend it on Jimmy John's, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, maybe get some Starbs. Right? But my customer, what are they going to do with that trimmer? They're going to have it for the rest of their life, and they're going to use it every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner until they die. And then they're going to give it to their kids, and they're going to use it every single day until they die. And on and on and on and on. So who really won that exchange? Me getting a kickback on my commission and spending it on fast food and the movies? Or your customer who's going to use this knife every single day for the next 70 plus years? I think my customer wins that interaction. When my customer says, yes, I'll take it, I'm like, I'm happy. I'm excited because I just made a sale, and they're happy and they're excited because they're like, I just ripped this kid off. I'll have this knife for the rest of my life. And he gave me a discount on it. This guy's a sucker. Sign of a good deal is when both people think they ripped off the other person. That's a sign of a good deal. So closing is key. Go out and sell some ultimate sets. Go out and sell some signature sets. Go out and sell some homemakers. Go sell some buy now bonuses. Go sell some gadget specials. Find your customer's comfortability level and make sure that every single person on the planet deserves to experience Cutco. It is our job to make sure that everybody gets to experience Cutco at least once in their lifetime. So with that being said, to wrap up this message, and we haven't even done recognition and appreciation yet. I've been yapping for way too long. But anyway, just to wrap up this message, I do want to say this. And I have a quick story for you guys. I was doing a service call this weekend. And this was from one of my mom's coworkers, Lisa. Some of you guys who've gone through training heard me talk about Lisa. But I went and re-saw her again this past week. And Lisa has a set of Cutco from 1949. It was her great-grandma's. So her great-grandma bought it in 1949 and then gave it to her grandma. And then her grandma gave it to her mom, and then her mom gave it to her. So for the past 74 years, they've had the same set of Cutco. It is the only thing that they have left from their great-grandma. Show of hands, who has something left with their great-grandma? I got nothing left from my great-grandparents. But they have that. It's a family heirloom. It's a legacy item. And every couple of years, they call me and they just send it back and get it sharpened and replaced for free. Do you think Lisa's great-grandma made a good choice back in 1949 to buy that homemaker set? Yeah, think about how much money they've saved on eating out. Think about how much money they've saved over 74 years of not buying and replacing crappy knives all the time and getting those pieces just refurbished and sharpened for free. It's probably like $40,000, $50,000 over 74 years. That's a lot of freaking money, you guys. So Cutco also saves customers a lot of money. So go out there, get your customers some family heirlooms, and go out there and get your customers, save your customers some money in the future. It's an investment that will pay back dividends. So that's everything I got for you guys on that part. Round of applause for me because that felt great. I'm super happy I recorded.
Awesome. Great job, Trey.
Yeah, so thank you. I appreciate it. So let's dive into some recognition, appreciation, some upcoming events, and a bunch of other stuff that I just completely blew past and just all out of whack. But you know what? It was good and it was worth it. I've been hanging out with Drew too much. That's what it is. That's what it is. Been talking too much. All right. Ooh. With that being said, we're in the middle of Jamaica Push. It started last week on December 9th and it goes until January 6th. If you're in your fast start, like my boy John, you sell 10K in your first 10 days, you get that Jamaica trip for free. I know Kennedy has already gotten 3 of her friends on the job. Haley, you have one of your friends set for training already. Tommy, you got a couple of your friends set for training, going through training to win that PR contest. So make sure you guys have the contest dates. It's December 9th through January 6th. Your PRs need to sell either their 2K, 8K, 4K, or 10K by January 7th. January 7th at midnight is the cutoff date. So if you haven't already, give a ton of your guys' PRs, give a ton of your guys' friends, give them a job, give them the names and numbers to me and to Jenna, and we will set them up for interviews to make sure that you guys can win this contest. And then the trip dates for when the trip will actually be is April 5th through the 8th. So it's going to be 3 nights, or no, 3 days, 2 nights. So the way you win it, you plus giving your friends a job equals free vacation. Any questions on Jamaica Push? Beautiful. And then, Jenna, do you actually want to lead this?
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up my slides really quick.
I'll stop sharing my screen so you can. Jenna's a lot better at promoting other things than I am.
Let's see. All righty. Okay, so we have the All-American Scholarship race coming to an end for this semester. But regardless of where you're at now, next semester is going to start a brand new scholarship race. So for the spring, the top 25 representatives are qualified for scholarship money. It typically takes to be in the top 25 around $30,000 in sales for the campaign. Right now, for this past fall campaign, we have Pax is at the number 89 spot, about 10K sold. Wyatt's at the number 63 spot with about 12K sold. Braden's at the number 6 spot with about 36K sold so far for the spring. So it typically takes that $30,000 number to make it in, maybe sometimes around 25,000 for the campaign. So you have 4 months. The campaign will start at the beginning of January. It goes until the end of April. And you'll have all 4 months to hit that number. So if you think about it over a 4-month period, really you're talking around $7,500 a month. Over a 4-week period, breaking that down, you're talking around $1,500, $1,600 a week on average. So what does that look like for you around school? Well, with a $400 average order, you're talking about 4 orders for the week. If you want to say 5 for the week to give yourself some cushion, you can. So 5 orders a week around school on a regular basis. For most reps, if you're closing around 60%, that's going to be right around 8 or 9 appointments for you for the week. So that could be, thinking about 4 on a Saturday, 4 on a Sunday, and then you take the rest of the week off. You could do 1 a day, Monday through Friday, and then do maybe like 2 on a Saturday, 1 on a Sunday, maybe 2 on a Sunday there, but you can spread it out. That way it's easy to manage. It really comes down to the numbers. It's an appointments game. So as long as you're striving to hit the right amount of appointments with the right type of customer, that's all that matters. And you will end up hitting it. So it's just making sure you're holding yourself accountable to that appointment goal. Some sales weeks will be bigger, some weeks will be smaller. You can't get caught up in the numbers. On the sales end, it's just about sticking to that appointment goal. So that's what it takes to hit it for this up and coming spring campaign. You have 2 weeks to get ready. So if I was in your shoes and you're serious about winning it, making sure you're getting as many referrals over the next 2 weeks as you can, talking to friends and family when you go back home for the holidays, if you are, getting more numbers from them, sitting down with mom, going through the phone. That way, when you go into the spring campaign, you can get as many appointments as possible right away. We also have consistency clubs. So this is another thing up for grabs to end with the scholarship there. But consistency is just making sure you're selling every single week. I think one of the big testaments to this job, especially to a top performer, is never missing a week, never having any zeros on the board. Even if you have a lot going on, always finding a way and striving to get a sale. I think that's one of the biggest testaments for the position here. And so if you look here, 3 weeks in a row over 1K gets you an engraved pocket knife, 5 weeks in a row over 1K gets you super shears, 10 weeks in a row over 1K gets you a K-bar, 5 weeks in a row over 3K gets you an engraved 4-pack of steak knives, 10 weeks in a row over 3K gets you an engraved homemaker set. So we've already had a lot of people winning these prizes this past fall campaign. They'll reset going into the spring, maybe change a little bit, but there will always be some sort of consistency club. So what is a goal that's feasible for you, and how are you going to hold yourself accountable to getting there? And then we're doing early bird trade. Did you update on your slides?
No, I was just gonna show my Vector Connect. I'm sorry.
Okay, so for our office on the board for the week so far, Braden's at 210, and then Trey, I don't know if you have anyone on the sales report.
Yeah, and I can do recognition from here. You're so much better at presenting the All-American Scholarship, and I was taking notes while you were doing that because I need to get better at it. So so far for this week, we got Annie Neeson on the board at 135. We got Kendall Velder at 322, and then we got Mr. Alex Frey. He's one of our FSMs on our team, selling 6 business gift orders and 6 Christmas gift orders, over $1,000 in sales, and he makes 45%. So he made over $450. Yeah, more like over 500 actually. Anyway, math is hard. But that's for on the board so far for this week. And then diving into last week, we have Helen on the board at 156, Nathan Doyle on the board at 175, and then your boy at 190. And I always like to tell this to my team, and I always like to say this: no one is above the law, man. What is the law? The law is booking demos, making sales, slinging blades. Me and Jenna both placing orders throughout this Christmas and throughout this holiday. And I don't want to take too much from Jenna. And this is not for me just to stroke my own ego and say, hey, look at me, I'm selling a lot of knives too. This is for you guys to know that even us as district managers, we started in the exact same position that you guys did. We started off as sales reps. We started off as an assistant manager, as a branch manager. We've worked our way up. Everything that we teach, we've personally been through, and we still actively do it. So even your boy around being a district manager, still selling 190. We got Elijah around at 190, Annie Neeson at 209, Kayla at 231, Peyton at 269, Kendall at 475, Kendra over $1,000 in sales at 1108, and then we got Miss Sabrina Franzoy selling a signature set, pushing her way on Jamaica Push at 1131. Super fire, super awesome. And then Jenna, I can share screens too. There we go.
I'm gonna pull my sales report up too. So, but last week we had Sean getting on the report at 139. I had an order last week for 223. We had
Hey, turn me up, Jenna. Turn me up, Jenna.
I did a little service call. And then we had Braden get on the board at 248. Noah get on the board at 300 right out of training. And then we had Liz, who is one of my past reps from Boulder. She started with me during the pandemic time. She makes at this point, I think 40% commission. So just randomly placing an order for 1,000, making an extra $400, right? That's one of the beautiful things about the job, but leading the way for our office last week at 1066.
Woo! Woo! That's a lot of CPO. And then this is our top 10 reps for 2023. And some movement on here. Tommy Smart, you just passed Michaela Gale. And so you're right between Zoe and Michaela. So who do you think could hit 10K first, Zoe or Tommy? I don't know. I'd like to see what that looks like, low key. And then we got some familiar faces up here. We got Wyatt, Braden, Savannah, Pax, Emma, Zoe, Tommy, Michaela, Miguel, and Santos. all over $6,000 for the year. Mr. Braden Green leading the way, almost at $40,000 for the year, and he started in September. So you guys are like, it is up for grabs. It is there. Next thing I want to go ahead and quickly talk about, because I know it's 8 o'clock and I want to respect your guys' time, so I'm going to speed through this next section, is year-end banquet. Year-end banquet, you can't miss it. Year-end banquet is one of my favorite events of the entire year. All of you guys are invited to this year-end banquet. So it doesn't matter if you're at $30,000 in sales, $10,000 in sales, or like 1 CPO in sales. Everybody can go to this. It is going to be in Houston, Texas, January 19th through the 21st. And we've already had some people on our team sign up for it. So Miss Tommy Smart is signed up for it. She's bringing her mom and bringing her sister. I'm signed up for it. My mom's not coming this year, which makes me really sad. But my mom came last year, and it was an absolute blast. So if you guys haven't already, definitely talk to your managers about year-end banquet, the importance of year-end banquet. You can see Jenna up here with her division manager as well, getting some plaques, getting some awards, getting celebrated. And what this year-end banquet is, it's pretty much like our parade, right? It's like, you know, when the Nuggets won the championship, they had their parade in the city. This is the Cutco parade. So we get to celebrate all the silver cups that we've won as a region. Our branch managers get their promotions. Our assistant managers get their promotions. You also get to network and market with everyone in our Southwest region. You get to meet Lloyd Reagan, Drew Frank. You get to meet me. You get to hang out with a bunch of district managers, CSPs. You get to see people who are in the Hall of Fame, who sell millions and millions of dollars every single year personally and as an office. It is absolutely awesome. It's like walking down the Hall of Fame. And guys, you guys don't know this, but we're in the best region. Last year, our region kicked everybody's butts by over $18 million. This year, I think we have like a $20 million lead, and we're doing better this year than we did last year. So we just kick a ton of butt, and you guys get to be a part of that and be a part of something bigger and greater and special. So with that being said, Jenna, do you want to lead schedule talk?
Yeah, I can. So this up and coming week, just make sure you have your planners out. We have 2 meetings. The first one's going to be the team meeting next Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you are over 3K in sales, we're going to have a key staff meeting on Wednesday, not Tuesday, from 5 to 6, and I will be leading the charge. So for all reps over 3K, it will be on Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Right before the team meeting. What I will be covering at that meeting is high-level sales skills. So we are going to be covering a wide array of topics, whether that's closing on a Cutco kitchen, maybe that's advanced sales closing, like assumptive closing, closing through questions, advanced objections, and just making sure that you're taking your business to the next level. We can cover deeper things like cookware and flatware and all different types of packages, like like gift boxes and stuff like that. So we'll be able to go over all of it in key staff. Again, if you're over 3K, would love to have you on that meeting there. And then the team meeting will be from 6 to 8, all of that on Wednesday though. And then we have phone jams. So these are optional. You don't have to be there, but I really suggest making sure you put at least one in your schedule. So we'll have Friday from 6 to 7 with Trey. This is going to be with the new training group as well too. So you can go ahead and lead the way with the new trainees. I think it makes a huge difference for their experience when they have reps like you hopping in, making calls. They can see a little bit what the tone is like, get some familiar faces as well too. So would love to have you on there. Saturday, there'll be a phone session from 10:30 till 11:30. Monday from noon to 2, and then Tuesday from 6 to 7. So again, obviously these are optional, not mandatory, but would love to have you there. And I really suggest for your success, putting at least one of them in your schedule. But that is our schedule for this up and coming week.
And then
I can cover this. So just a little bit on why to do the phone jams. Sometimes life gets busy and it is hard to hold ourselves accountable to making calls outside of scheduled meetings. I know when I was a rep, making calls at home was never nearly as great for me as making calls from the office. So if I were to have to make calls at home, I would definitely want to do it on Zoom with other people. That way I know it's going to get done. I'm easily distracted. So for me, I need extra accountability. And when you hold yourself accountable to calls, well, it's easy to get the sales. Like for instance, let's say you want to make, $2,000 in income over the next 10 weeks. Well, this is going to be a breakdown, right? 10 calls a day for the next 10 weeks is going to make sure you're on pace to gain $2,000 in income. If you want $5,000 in income over the next 10 weeks, it's going to be 20 calls a day. So 20 calls a day could be 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon. It doesn't need to be all at once. It can be broken up. And it makes it really easy to stay on pace. Making 10 calls only takes about 30 minutes. So if you can hold yourself accountable to 30 minutes of calls in the morning, 30 minutes of calls in the evening, well, you're on pace to make $5,000 over the next 10 weeks. And for a lot of people, that's life-changing income. But I challenge each of you to think, when was the last time for the whole week you made calls morning and night? Right? Also, 30 calls a day. This is just, instead of making 10 in the morning and night, it's making 15. It's just sitting there for 5 extra phone calls. But by making 30 calls a day over the next 10 weeks, you're now on pace to make $8,500 worth of income. Right? Take a look at like Braden, who's at 40K for the campaign. Well, he's made right around 10 grand this campaign around school, because of the fact that he was making 15 calls in the morning, 15 calls at night, right? And holding himself accountable to making those calls. When you make the calls, the money is going to follow. This is a job about the action, not the results. So you can't get frustrated with the results. You have to stay dedicated to the action. Get frustrated when you don't take action, but you can't get frustrated with the results when you take the action, right? It's about staying focused on not what you're doing, like the result of what you're doing, but the action of what you're doing throughout the process. But anyways, that's why you should go to the phone jams, because if you're not on pace, it can help you stay on pace for those goals there.
All right. And then we already did phone jam at the beginning of the day. So with all that being said, sorry we went 7 minutes over, but I thought this was really good. I thought this meeting was definitely taking a couple steps backward to take 10, 15 steps forward. Use the knife knowledge that you guys learned today. Use the planning, use the scheduling tips that Jenna taught you, implement those. Failing to plan is planning to fail, and I don't like to fail. So make sure you guys take all of those things that you learned today into account, and I will see you guys next week at the same time. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. New videos come out every Wednesday. See y'all. Gotta hit that outro with me.